Alan Porteous, how are you?
Pleased, I'm fine, thank you.
Thanks for coming along to the hub here in Port. You find it all right?
I did, yes.
Because you're quite far travelled, aren't you?
Deepest, darkest Lanarkshire.
Whereabouts?
Airdrie.
Oh, for goodness sake. You got out okay?
Got out okay.
Because I've been there a few times and wondered if I was ever going to get out again.
No, it's fine today.
Are you an energy supporter as well?
I am very much an
I've
energy
had it
fan.
all. I've seen it all in here now. I really have. That should be a David Attenborough thing, that you found an Airdrie supporter.
They're doing very well at the moment, so
They are,
I'm quite proud to say I'm an Airdrie fan.
Are you a football fan?
Yes, in
Because
general.
the two things don't necessarily go together.
No, I will watch any game that's on, much to my wife's
And do you
chagrin.
play football?
A bit beyond that now. I don't tend to. I lasted the five-a-sides up until a few years ago, and then
Right.
I found that my enthusiasm was outstripping my physicality.
Because you're playing right into my ball.
I know exactly what you're
Because you think
saying
you're
here.
here to talk about books, don't you?
It's
And
walking
authors
football,
and-
isn't it? Yeah.
You're a bit beyond that now. We've got an 82-year-old that plays for us.
Yeah, just showing me up now.
Because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm way beyond. I'm too fit for that."
Yeah.
And they get a big shock when they come, because we cover over 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
So that's really why you're here, is to rope you into walking football.
Do you find that people are holding themselves back a little bit and saying, I really want to run here, but
Oh yeah, all of
but
us.
the rules,
Yeah, some
and
of
other
us can't.
cheats,
Some
and
of
other
us can't.
cheats as well. Like, I was speaking to a friend that plays it,
Right.
and he says it's really hard, and see, there's always a guy that gets away with running.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I'm a referee as well, so that's because they pay me
Uh-huh.
to get away with running. But it's serious. It's developed into tiers now, that we've got low intensity, we've got normal, and we've got high intensity. Leagues, cups, all competitive stuff. So it's something worth having a look at.
To be honest, anything I think that keeps people involved.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a fitness aspect to it as well.
Very
But
much
it's
so.
just the
Physical
involvement.
activity. But what we've found is that the social side of it is equally as important, especially after lockdown and whatnot, when people are struggling through seclusion and all sorts of things. So for a mental health aspect, it's very, very interesting, and becoming more and more popular all over
I'll
Europe.
definitely give it a thought.
Okay, so the reason you're really here is that at Ringwood Publishing, we've got a magazine programme, and we're hoping to look at every aspect of that industry, if you like. And you are an author.
Yes, albeit a self-published one for
Well,
the
that's-
moment.
That's the point, is self-published, because that's become a thing. Not just in the book industry and the literary market, but in music, and also people can now bring out their own work and find an audience. I suppose it's what we're doing right here, is that we're producing this, hopefully that it'll reach an audience that wouldn't normally get to know these things. So tell us, how does self-publishing work then?
There are a lot of ways of doing it. There's the kind of, it used to be called vanity publishing.
Right.
And basically my first book that I wrote was a book about Scottish football called Glory Hunting.
Okay.
And I basically paid quite a lot of money. I mean, it was over £2,000 to get a company to take on board the printing and organise the ISBN numbers and all that sort of stuff.
That's the individual unique number
Yes.
that gets allocated.
Yeah,
to
so they would do all the legalities of that, and they basically guaranteed
copyright and whatnot.
Yeah, gave the book a platform, and they guaranteed that they would sell. You could sell one copy. You could buy one copy of that book. They promised they would do a bit of marketing relating to it. They didn't really do anything at all, and I was kind of left to do that.
So the first
myself.
trap for somebody, because I'm a great believer that everybody's got a book in them. They've
Yeah.
got a memoir, they've got a story, they've got a
Yeah,
family history.
I agree.
But the first trap is paying £2,000 for a product that doesn't really exist.
And in actual fact, that's probably quite a low value now. That's
Right.
kind of cottoned on a little bit, and you know, it could be thousands. I was quoted £7,000 for somebody to do all that sort of stuff.
Right.
You know, and they'll design your cover for you, and they do all the printing and that side of things. I would certainly suggest the first stage is looking at something like Amazon and the Kindle direct publishing thing.
Right.
They have fairly recently put a
platform in place.
in place that you can actually. I mean, I started putting my books on ebook form,
Right.
which was awkward to a point. A lot
Yeah.
of formatting issues. So if you're not particularly IT literate, it can be a bit of a fight. They have recently. You can now do your book on paperback format, and and they're now. I think there's plans to do hardbacks. So I put my new project as I've got a couple of kids' books, the team from Windmill Lane and Beaufort's Thunderdogs Forever, part of this football kids series. I got it initially on ebook just because I wanted it to be seen in some sort of format. I had aspirations to get a proper proper publishing deal. That wasn't happening for all the reasons that was talked about, previously.
The industry
is
and
a
the problems of getting published.
Very difficult thing to do. So this at least gave me the opportunity to have a printed copy. And to be honest, and maybe I'm lucky because I illustrate my own books. I used to be a cartoonist and as a hobby, in the dim and distant past. So I drew a lot of the stuff and created my own cover
imagery.
But again, you talk about the technology. I used Canva. Canva's a brilliant thing to it's kind of publishing, printing package. Really versatile and quite easy and user friendly. So I used that, and I was cutting bits from various packages and sticking it up into my Kindle thing. And by hook or by crook, over Christmas time I managed to get a 2 paperback published books.
Right.
Self-published that are there to either just be bought on the Amazon platform, but it also gives me the opportunity to have them to show people, to touch and feel. So the traditional publishing route is not out of the window right now. So as you say, the technology is there. That with a bit of resilience and a bit of digging in, it's not the easiest thing.
Utilise your friends. Those skills maybe.
At one point, and I paid a guy to help me out with a bit of marketing because he was an Amazon expert.
Right.
So again, it just at one point I thought I'm struggling a little bit with that. Didn't cost me the earth, to do it, but ultimately a little bit of knowledge, and I think we were talking about this earlier, there can be a little bit of a skill in branding up your book in the right category, and with very little
tricks of the trade.
Tricks of the trade. My book was currently languishing in an ebook form, 18,422nd on the rankings, but putting the new books into the different categories. I was in the top. I was certainly in the top 100, and was 40 odd in the area. That was.
See, there's so many categories fall within just your books, because you've got sport, football, which will be a category, children's books, which is a whole world and minefield of its own.
That's it. So then I was legitimately able to have a sort of press release, a social media campaign to say best-selling top 100 Amazon seller. So it can be done.
A lot of work.
The marketing.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It was easier writing the book than it was actually doing the.
Well, I had a publisher for my book, and I found the same experience. Despite having a publisher to do all the things that you're talking about, still the writing was the easiest part.
Yes,
and people should realise that.
Yeah.
What about the books themselves then? You mentioned the 2 children's books.
Yes.
Back to back. Do they follow on from each other?
They do. They do.
What are they called again, Alan?
The first one is called The Team from Windmill Lane.
Right.
And the follow up to it is called the Beaufort's Thunderdogs Forever. The team, it's all about a little boy who starts his own football team. He gets gifted a farmer's field, so him and his pal create their football ground from scratch, and they play in an under 15s league.
Right.
And it's very football-y, so you follow their fortunes throughout the league season, and are they going to win the league? But amidst the whole normality of it all, they get embroiled in a dark plot to try and undermine football and eradicate football from history forever.
Right.
So there's a little bit of magic.
From Mordor.
Yes.
Is this a kind of magic Harry Potter about it?
There's very much a Harry Potter side of things as well. So it then transpires that my main character, Finn Silver, his football team are the pawns, the catalyst of whether X, Y or Z would happen.
Maybe. You're going to try and save the world. And if I don't want to spoiler here.
No. Well, basically, if they don't win the league, football will never exist.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So their job is actually to win the league so that everything remains
I've
as
now
it
got a
was.
vested interest in that with walking football, because he's a future walking footballer.
Well, he absolutely is, yes.
That could be the 10th or 20th or 30th book. That could be.
Well, that was the
because
thought.
they need to get older, don't they?
That's it, because it was a little bit like in Harry Potter in a sense that it was going to be. I've done two. Every book is one season.
So that's a year at school. So they're getting a year older.
Yep. So they'll get a year older. Eventually, Finn will sign for Airdrie.
Right. So I could play Finn when he's in his 40s.
Absolutely. And then he'll become an international, and then he'll get older, and then he'll embrace walking football and
nappy to nappy, we call it.
Absolutely. So yes,
that's brilliant. Exactly. And I had a wee look on Amazon at the books, and they're very appealing artistically, as you'd imagine, because you do the covers and all the artwork. But the comments I was reading below, it's not children that are making comments on Amazon, it's parents.
Yes.
And nearly all of them, if not all of them, said that they really enjoyed the book, because most parents read their children's books so they can talk to them about it. Harry Potter, I know I went to every Harry Potter movie, came out of one, and my daughter went back in again to see it with her friends instead of her dad. But I read all the books as well, so parents are very much engaged and they seem to enjoy the books.
That's right. And that was, I think if you were to, I like the idea of encouraging kids to read first and foremost.
Yes.
That's
an art form in its own, apparently, writing for children.
So I felt I had to create something that was a vehicle that was acceptable and exciting, and also something I think that's not particularly laden with social issues. I think our kids grow up too quickly. So there's none of that in here. This is all about good and versus evil and friendship and.
Now, there's a skill, it's like the pantomime. When you go to, I've not been for a long time with my kids because they're too old now. But at the pantomime, you get all the innuendo. And the parents enjoy the panto because there's an underlying theme of innuendo that runs alongside the humour, the children's humour. Is that hard to do?
I don't try and straddle that type.
It's not a conscious thing.
Too much, to be honest. I think at one point in the first book, I think there's some crowd violence. At the kids' game, but it's all the parents that are throwing things at each other, and the kids are sort of stopping, looking, think what's actually going on there, So I'm thinking there's a lot of parallels that parents reading the books to their kids could.
It's really why I'm involved in walking football, because most of them don't bring their parents along. But I'm a referee as well, and when I referee children's games, the kids are great. The kids just got on with it.
The parents on the sidelines,
on the touchline.
Absolutely.
It's a nightmare.
So
you've done two.
Yes.
Are you thinking about finding a publisher now?
Yes. I still have that. I have the fallback that I'm a business advisor in real life as well. So I should have it in my capability. Yes. So there are I work in Stirling.
That's right, that makes sense.
So slightly better quality businesses in Stirling. Should I say that?
Oh, you said that, not me.
No, I'm sure there are plenty of good businesses in Airdrie, definitely. But as a business advisor, you would feel I should have the acumen at least to try and sell a few copies of my own book. But I don't think I never had the aspirations to be one of these guys that had 2,000 books in my back bedroom. That every time somebody came in, I wheeled out a suitcase and said, "Here, have a couple." That type of thing.
You've been looking in my boot.
I've bought 5 copies already. Take them home with me. No, so I still harbour the hopes that that somebody would pick it up and do all the difficult stuff that I either don't want to do or don't have the time to do. If you've got a 9-to-5 job as well, it's difficult to fit the time and keep the momentum going in your own marketing as well, because the work gets busy and that takes over, and then something happens at home, or your domesticity kicks in. The world doesn't leave you alone to always to aim at your dreams, unfortunately.
Once you get that first bestseller, that frees up all your
once you've got the name, and as you rightly were talking about earlier on, it's far easier if you're a no mark that's been in a real life drama or a TV cook or something like that. They seem to get the rub of the green as as far as
and the publishers look for the names that are going to sell books, and it's kind of self-perpetuating.
At one point I wondered if I could write these books and then try and get a professional footballer to actually put their name in the front. You know, there's Frank Lampard has got a book out that's a kids' book. He's my nemesis at the moment because he's above me on the rankings on kids' football books. But you can't compete against that, and he walks in and gets that.
His year he's unemployed, so he's got plenty of time for that.
You thought he'd have made enough money as well.
I know. We all know that song at Everton now.
Nobody does.
Alan, this is going to be an ongoing thing because we're obviously here for publishing, authors, all the rest of it. So we'll probably come back to you in due course and find out about this journey. I'm obviously interested in Finn as well. I want to find out about the team.
Yes.
So this is an ongoing thing that we're going to be covering.
That would be great. I would be delighted.
And it would be great for you to give us that perspective on the self-publishing and hopefully the traditional publishing that you're going to be involved in moving forward. So can I wish you all the best with that?
Thank you very much.
I really hope you have a good time, and we'll talk about Finn the next time I see you.
Absolutely, I'll be delighted to tell you about my fortunes.
Thanks for coming along, Alan.
Thank you.
All the best.